If you had told me a month ago that I'd be booking a weekend getaway to expose my wife's affair, I'd have laughed in your face and offered you a drink. Not because I was in denial, no, I'd just gotten too comfortable, too trusting, too domesticated. The kind of husband who packed extra socks for his wife just in case, while she packed secrets in return. We'd been married for 8 years, together for 10, and I'll say this, she was beautiful. Beautiful like a mirage, always close enough to chase, never quite real when you got there. Her name? Elise. She had a laugh that could knock a man's defenses clean off and a stare that could freeze his doubts solid. We used to take trips like this all the time. Spontaneous weekends. Room service. A minibar binge followed by movies we never finished. So when she suggested a last-minute weekend at a boutique hotel upstate, just to reconnect, babe, I was more than game. I packed the car. She packed a lie. The place was nice. Rustic, but sleek. The kind of hotel where the front desk wears matching cardigans and pours you a welcome cocktail with rosemary in it. Elise clung to my arm like we were newlyweds, kissing my cheek in the elevator, laughing at everything I said like I was her favorite comedian. For a minute, I believed her. We ordered dinner to the room that night. I remember the steak was overcooked and the wine too sweet. But she said it was perfect, then slipped into the bathroom with her phone. I brushed my teeth and stared at the mirror longer than usual, wondering why the reflection looked like a guy trying too hard to feel relaxed. At some point, we curled into bed, her head on my shoulder, her hand resting gently on my chest like a well-rehearsed scene. She fell asleep fast. Or so I thought. Around 5:30 a.m., the mattress shifted. I stayed still. You ever pretend to be asleep just to see what someone does when they think you're not watching? It's a special kind of masochism. But that morning, it paid off. Elise slid out of bed like a cat in silk. Barefoot, quiet, phone in hand. She didn't go to the bathroom. She didn't grab a coffee. She opened the door and left. Didn't even close it all the way. And that's when I knew. Not suspected. Knew. I didn't follow her. Not right away. I waited. Gave her just enough rope. Then I got up, barefoot too, and slipped into the hallway. Silent as guilt. And when I turned the corner, I saw it. Room 409. Not ours. The door opened. And she walked in. Just like that. Like it was routine. She didn't even hesitate. Just slipped inside room 409 like it was hers. Like she belonged there. I stood at the end of the hallway, out of sight, heart thumping slow but heavy. No dramatics. No panic. Just that sinking, ice-cold realization that the woman I'd shared a bed with for nearly a decade had a second bed just down the hall. A side suite of secrets. I didn't knock. Didn't barge in like some soap opera scene. I turned around, walked back to our room, and closed the door behind me so gently you'd think I was afraid of waking a ghost. Then I sat down. Right there, edge of the bed, hands in my lap, and waited. Time crawled. Maybe 30 minutes passed, maybe more. I wasn't looking at the clock. I was listening. For footsteps. For guilt. And then there it was, the telltale shuffle of flip-flops and fake innocence. Click. The keycard slid through the lock. Elise walked in, holding 2 cardboard coffee cups like a peace offering for a war she thought I didn't know about. She smiled, hair still damp from a shower that didn't happen here. Bet your favorite, she said, like this was normal. Like I hadn't just watched her walk out of room 409 like a scene from a spy movie. Hazelnut, no sugar. You still take it like that? I nodded, took the cup. My hands didn't even shake. She sipped hers, looked at me, and said, "You sleep okay?" I smiled, lied right back. Like a baby. She had no idea I was already packing her exit. Not a word about room 409. Not yet. That part of the story was going to unfold in its own time, and I was going to write the ending myself. She showered. Again. This time, in our room. Steam billowed out like it was trying to hide the truth. She hummed to herself, some off-key rendition of a song we danced to at our wedding. I sat there, coffee in hand, watching the bathroom door like it might confess before she did. When she stepped out wrapped in a towel, hair wet and cheeks flushed, she smiled like everything was perfect. Like I was the lucky one. "You okay?" she asked. "You're quiet." I looked her dead in the eye. "Yeah," I said. "Just thinking." She nodded, grabbed her makeup bag, and started her morning routine. Mascara. Concealer. Lies. I watched her, not like a husband, but like a detective in his own home. Every move she made screamed innocence dressed in habit. She'd done this before. Too smooth. Too practiced. Around 8:45, she said she was going to run down to the lobby to grab some fruit. I just nodded. But this time I followed her. Not right away. I gave it 60 seconds, then walked the hallway again. Familiar now, like retracing the steps of a crime scene. And wouldn't you know it, the door to room 409 opened before I even reached the elevator. She walked out, brushing her hair behind her ear, that post-light glow still fresh on her face. And he followed. Tall, fit, t-shirt stretched a little too tight, like it needed validation. Smug smirk. The kind of guy who probably says bro at brunch and thinks emotional intelligence is a dating app. They didn't kiss. They didn't need to. She touched his chest before she left, a little graze, like muscle memory. She turned the corner and vanished. He stood there for a second, stretching like he'd just finished a good workout. And maybe he had. Then he went back inside, door clicking shut like a period at the end of a sentence I didn't want to read. I didn't chase her. I didn't yell. I went back to the room, sat down, and started making plans. When Elise walked back into the room, holding a banana and a tiny hotel yogurt like she'd foraged them from some mythical lobby cornucopia, I was already dressed. Calm, folded, unbothered on the outside, like a man waiting for a cab, not a confession. You sure you're okay? She asked again, tossing the fruit onto the table and cracking the yogurt lid with her perfectly manicured nails. You're acting weird. Weird. That's what she called it. Not distant. Not cold. Just weird. I shrugged. Just tired. She seemed to buy it. Or maybe she didn't care anymore. Either way, she didn't push. She sat down, scrolling her phone, spooning yogurt like she hadn't just slept in 2 beds in one night. She had no idea her one-way ticket was already printing in my mind. See, I've always been the type to let the facts sink in before reacting. Some people explode. I marinate. I let the betrayal age like fine wine, until the flavor is just bitter enough to remember, but smooth enough to serve cold. So while she rambled about wanting to hit the spa before checkout, I nodded and smiled and listened and planned. I didn't want a dramatic exit. I didn't want her tears. I wanted the silence to do the talking. By noon, we were packed. Or rather, I was packed. Her suitcase still sat near the door. She looked at me, puzzled. You not grabbing mine? Nope. She blinked. Why not? I stared at her for a long moment, then smiled. Because you're not coming back with me. Silence. Thick. Electric. Her face twitched once. Twice. Then the laugh, forced, high-pitched. Okay, what? Is this a joke? I reached into my bag and handed her a manila envelope. Inside, a printed photo of her walking out of room 409. Time-stamped. Cropped. No context needed. She went pale. You followed me? She said, voice now dipped in cold venom. Nope. Just saw the truth finally stretch its legs. She didn't speak. I stood, picked up my bag, walked to the door, left her standing there with the banana, the yogurt, and the realization that her double life just got evicted. No shouting. No begging. Just me, and the weight she used to be. The front desk clerk was young. Nervous. Probably new. Can I help you, sir? She asked. Yeah, I said, sliding my keycard across. Just checking out. Oh, and I'll need a courier. For luggage? No. For a woman. She blinked. I smiled. 2 hours later, from the comfort of a small-town cafe with strong coffee and zero lies, I sent the hotel staff a polite message. Pack her things, build a card on file, and ship it all to the address I'd written on a post-it. Alongside it, one final item. A one-way ticket to nowhere near me. Coach. Non-refundable. She could pick the destination, but the direction was set, away. She texted me 3 times that evening. Elise, you're seriously doing this? Elise, can we at least talk? Elise, you're being cruel. I didn't reply. I wasn't being cruel. I was being done. And when I say done, I mean stripped down, soul scraped, slate wiped clean. Not just with her. With all of it. The pretending. The performing. The quiet hope that maybe, just maybe, she still loved me enough to stop. Turns out, she didn't. Turns out, I do. Love me enough to leave. Later that night, I took a walk. The kind where you don't need a destination. Just motion. Just air. I thought about how easy it is to miss the signs when you're busy carrying the load for 2. You justify, excuse, minimize. You wear the blindfold because the truth has teeth, and you've convinced yourself you don't bleed. But the truth? The truth always bites. Room 409 was just the last one. There were others. Missed calls. Half-truths. That strange scent in her hair when she got home late. Not perfume, but the absence of guilt. like she'd already forgiven herself in advance. But now she was alone. With her yogurt and her silence and her non-refundable seat on a plane to wherever the hell her lies felt safe. And me? I was finally free. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't just take your peace, it dares you to chase it. It plants itself like a flag in your memory and waves every time you try to move on. But see, I wasn't trying to move on. Not yet. I was still sharpening my knives. I didn't go home right away. No, I let her wonder. Let her imagine me angry, shattered, crying on the floor like a man who just discovered gravity works on loyalty too. But that's not who I am. I don't fall apart. I take notes. By the time I got back to the city, the doorman at our building gave me a stiff nod, the kind that says, I know, but I'm pretending not to. Elise must have come home already. Probably tried to spin her little spa story, too. But I had a plan. Because if she wanted to play pretend, I was going to build her the perfect set. The apartment looked the same. Spotless. Scented. Quiet. Like a crime scene no one investigated. She wasn't home yet. So I got to work. I pulled out the backup drive she didn't know existed. Years of shared data, texts, cloud backups, calendar entries. She thought deleting messages was enough. Bless her heart. I found what I was looking for quickly, not just the room at the hotel, but others. Names. Patterns. A whole rotation of loyalty discounts and private browser sessions she forgot to clean. This wasn't a one-time slip. It was a system. She didn't just cheat, she scheduled it. And in that moment, I decided she wasn't getting away with a simple goodbye. No, that was too kind. This wasn't going to be revenge for revenge's sake. This was going to be a reckoning. A slow, careful one. The first thing I did was freeze the joint account. Not close it. Freeze it. Just enough to strand her mid-purchase, like a kid trying to sneak candy with someone else's wallet. She'd get the alert while trying to book her next lie. A fun little hiccup in her day. Next, I called the landlord. We had 6 months left on the lease. Perfect. I told him I was taking over the rent myself, under the condition that she be removed from the agreement. She's still living there, right? He asked. For now, I said. But not for long. Then I called her job. Not directly, of course. Just a little anonymous message to the office manager. Hi, just thought you'd want to know. One of your employees has been using company time and resources to schedule personal hotel stays. Check the calendar. Might be something you'd want to look into. Click. No threats. No foul words. Just a gentle nudge in the right direction. Like a breeze before a storm. By the time Elise walked through the door later that night, I was sitting on the couch like nothing had changed. She froze when she saw me. Took a second longer than she should have to smile. You're back, she said. I wasn't sure. No need to be sure, I said, sipping my tea. I just came to drop some things off. She sat down across from me, crossing her legs like she thought she still had leverage. We should talk. I know you're hurt, and I get it. But maybe. Spare me, I said, calmly. We're past the maybe stage. She blinked. That's when I handed her the folder. Inside? Printed screenshots. Hotel bookings. Messages recovered from deleted archives. A schedule she kept with her little side life neatly color-coded. And a one-way plane ticket with tomorrow's date. She rifled through the folder, her face draining faster than a bathtub full of lies. Then she looked up at me, eyes flickering between anger and desperation, trying to find the right mask. You've been spying on me? No, I said. I've been watching. Spying is sneaky. Watching is just waking up. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Tried again. You're throwing away everything we built. I laughed. Not hard. Not cruelly. Just, honestly. You threw it away a long time ago. I'm just taking out the trash. That hit her. She stood up, jaw clenched. You don't get to control how this ends. I'm not controlling it, I said. I'm curating it. She stormed into the bedroom, probably to pack, or maybe to slam the door. Either way, I stayed seated, unmoved. This wasn't about yelling. This wasn't about revenge. This was about balance, order, truth. A few minutes later, she emerged with a small bag. You think you're the only one who can play this game, she spat. I stood, calm, steady. I'm not playing a game, Elise. I'm winning one you didn't know I was in. Then I handed her the envelope. Inside, a signed notice removing her from the lease. Instructions for picking up her remaining things from a storage locker. 1 key. No copies. Oh, I added. And if you're thinking of trying to come back for anything else, just know there are cameras in here now. She didn't respond. just glared at me like I betrayed her. Funny how cheaters always manage to flip the mirror and cry about the reflection. She left that night. Not with tears, not with rage, just with a silence that screamed the truth louder than words ever could, that Elise's departure wasn't the end. No, it was just intermission. See, people like her, they don't fall silently. They flail. They post selfies with sad captions. They spin their own version of the truth before yours can catch up. And true to form, 3 days later, I got a message from a mutual friend. Hey, saw Elise's post. Are you really spiraling? Need anything? I laughed. Because Elise was out there telling people I snapped. That I kicked her out over a misunderstanding. That he's not well. The classic pivot. When they can't defend what they did, they try to rewrite what you are. But I didn't correct them. Not yet. Instead, I sent the evidence packet, hotel records, timestamps, calendar screenshots, to a few carefully chosen people. No mass text. Just precision strikes. People who mattered. People who needed to know. Let her keep telling her story. I just gave the truth a head start. By the end of the week, her job had put her on administrative review. Apparently, those hotel bookings coincided a little too cleanly with some working weekends. Her boss wasn't amused. The guy from room 409, HR rep, married. Office gossip exploded like a piñata at a divorce party. Elise messaged me the next day. Elise, why are you trying to ruin me? Me, I'm not. I'm just making sure your resume and your reality match. I boxed up the last of her things with surgical efficiency. Old photos, jewelry she left behind, even the ceramic vase she once swore she'd never part with. All of it went into storage. I didn't throw anything out. That would have been too emotional. I'm not in the business of holding grudges. I'm in the business of closing accounts. When the delivery company came to ship her things, I included a typed note. Elise, these are the remains of a 10-year story you chose to end with someone else's body. Consider this the credits rolling. L. I didn't wait for a reply. I just stood in the doorway as the truck pulled away, feeling lighter than I'd felt in months. It's funny what silence feels like after betrayal. At first, it's heavy, loud even. Your thoughts echo too clearly, and every room feels like it used to belong to two people. But then one day, you sit down, and you don't hear anything. No blame, no lies, just peace. I got back into the gym, cut my hair, deleted old playlists that used to remind me of her. I made new routines, new recipes, started seeing friends I'd neglected. Nobody asked questions. They didn't need to. They just handed me a beer and made me laugh again. Turns out, the best revenge isn't fire. It's flourishing. About a month later, I got a knock at the door. Elise, hair unwashed, no makeup, dressed like she just walked out of a breakup montage. She looked around the apartment like it had betrayed her, too. Like the furniture should have missed her. I needed to see you, she said. I let the silence stretch. I lost my job, she continued. People are talking. I'm staying with my sister for now. It's been rough. Still, I said nothing. I know I hurt you, she said. But I'm still the woman you married, Logan. No, I said. That woman died in room 409. Her eyes welled up. Can't we talk? Just start over. I opened the drawer next to the door and handed her a small, neatly sealed envelope. Inside was a printed screenshot of her message to her hotel fling. He still thinks we're working on things. Poor guy. She read it. I watched her face crumble in real time. That's the moment you lost your second chance, I said. You didn't just cheat. You laughed while doing it. You didn't just lie. You performed it. She opened her mouth, maybe to argue, maybe to beg. I shut the door before she could do either. Revenge is rarely about fire and fury. It's about precision, stillness, letting them ruin themselves while you build something better. Elise thought I'd blow up. She expected shouting, drama, a meltdown. Instead, I watched her burn her own world down, and I made sure she had no way back into mine. She lost the job, lost the apartment. Her name became a whisper in circles that used to respect her. And me? I got my peace. I rebuilt. The day I signed the lease for my new place, a smaller loft, just mine, I sat on the bare floor with a beer and looked out at the skyline. Not a single part of me missed her. Not the fake smiles. Not the manipulations. Not the performance. She taught me a lesson, sure, but I wrote the final chapter. And somewhere out there, Elise is probably telling someone else that her ex was cold or vindictive. But let's be honest. I didn't break her heart. I just refused to carry it after she dropped mine.